Hey there, greetings. Today we're going to look at the vibe of the day and also jump in with installment number 5 of looking at the upcoming solar eclipse on Sunday, September 21st. So the vibe for today has to do with the moon going from Leo into Virgo, Venus also going from Leo into Virgo. So the feeling, the mood is going to shift a bit here. I am Marina Orms here with your Astro vibe for Friday, September 19th. So we've got the moon going in from where it's been in Leo, a little bit of drama, a little bit, a little bit of people needing to be have attention and some of those classic Leo things going on. And then Venus also has been in Leo, and Venus will be shifting into Virgo today as well. And as that happens, both planets, or the moon and Venus, join together, have their conjunction at 29 degrees, 59 minutes Leo, very last minute of Leo before both planets head into Virgo. And so the moon goes into Virgo at 5:23 a.m. Pacific time, and Venus follows a few minutes later into into Virgo. So shifting gears from that energy of Leo, of drama, of attention grabbing, wanting to be seen, wanting to be important, things like that. And now into Virgo, where it's like we get to ask ourselves, okay, now what am I going to do about it? I had my feelings. I needed to share them. I needed to say what I thought and felt. And now with the Virgo energy, it's like, okay, how am I going to do this? What am I going to become given the new information I have been receiving recently? And we've been talking all week, of course, about the upcoming eclipse. This is installment 5, so we've had 4 previous installments looking at the upcoming solar eclipse in Virgo, and we've touched a little bit on the lunar eclipse in Pisces and how that opens some doors to some greater spiritual wisdom, something that maybe we need to feel in our hearts or become aware of. And so now with the Virgo eclipse energy and now the moon in Virgo, getting ready for that eclipse. We've got this, okay, what are you going to do about it? How are you going to implement? How are you going to live these higher spiritual truths or these higher spiritual principles that maybe have been becoming more clear to you or emerging in your consciousness? So we are shifting into that Virgo energy. This is, of course, a new moon coming up on Sunday. So new moons begin the moon cycle, and this what moon cycle will be the fulfillment of the work of the new moon. So the seeds that are planted at the new moon speak to what work we're going to be, where the focus is going to be throughout the month, and that throughout the moon cycle. So if you've been following me, you know that we talk about each month as having a theme and beginning with the chart of the new moon. So everything that we're talking about here with the chart of the solar eclipse in Virgo on Sunday is speaking to, this is the work that we're going to be doing. It's not just one day, right? This is going to be unfolding over the next moon cycle and beyond, because eclipses are also have extra significance. They tend to open a portal that can bring through new information, new awareness, changes in reality, right? And I don't, I'm not getting really weird on you. I'm just saying, like, sometimes circumstances change enough that we have to kind of reorient ourselves. Ask, okay, with what has changed in my life, how do I think about myself now? How do I think about my day-to-day life, my habits, my routines? So it's quite possible that you may have something showing up for you through the process of this eclipse season that brings change into your life, and you are on a very personal level, figuring out how to adapt to new truths, new realities, new things that exist that didn't exist before or used to exist and now are changing. So, really honoring yourself and your needs in that process. It's not minor, and also recognizing that we do have this bigger picture of the collective and sort of some of these energies that all of us are feeling, that we're feeling together, that things that tend to show up in news headlines, in, what everybody's talking about around the water cooler or whatever it may be, what everyone's talking about, what's kind of on the collective psyche, right? The collective what is showing up and being worked through, really, because we're processing it. So the energy and the collective is being processed by us as individuals, and with this Virgo eclipse, we are also being asked to really think about, how do we participate in helping to create the world in the way we want it to be? 29 degrees Virgo, as I shared in installment number one, is about the need to get it right, right? That very last degree before we shift into sharing and doing things together in Libra, right? So I talked about that in installment one. Today we are going to look at some of the squares in the eclipse chart. Squares are challenges. They also represent a phase in a cycle. All all of the aspects we've been talking about are a phase in a cycle. So whether it's a sextile or a trine or a yod, it's a point in an unfolding cycle. It's not static, it's dynamic. The planets are moving, and we see that as the sun moves through the zodiac, the moon moves through the zodiac signs. The planets are all in motion. So we need to remember that. And then it's like we take a snapshot of where the planets are at these potent moments, like here's the solar eclipse. Here's the exact moment when the sun and moon join together in the zodiac, and that is the exact moment of the eclipse. What's going on at that moment, right? It's kind of like a birth chart. The moment of birth is a potent moment, and it is like a stamp, giving you a map for your soul's journey at that of the alignment of the planets at that moment. Okay, I'm getting off on tangents, but hopefully that's useful. So coming back to, we're looking at squares today, and specifically, we are going to look at the Mars-Pluto square today, and tomorrow I'm going to jump in with the Venus-Uranus square, which is also super interesting. So the Mars-Pluto square is a waning square, meaning it's 3/4 of the way through the cycle between those two planets. So it's come 3/4 of the way from the Mars-Pluto conjunction, which is like a new moon, but involving Mars and Pluto. And that exact conjunction took place on February 13th, 2024. So just zoom yourself back to February 2024, which was right after Pluto had gone into Aquarius. And it was this The second time, because remember in 2023, Pluto dipped its toes in Aquarius and then quickly retrograded back into Capricorn. So we had and have been having, right, that transition between Pluto in Capricorn, Pluto in Aquarius. That's important because now that Pluto is in Aquarius, it will stay there until the 2040s. So this is a significant shift in the background energies. Big shift from Pluto and Capricorn. I've done other videos on that, so I won't spend time on that today. But the point is that it was 0 degrees Aquarius when Mars and Pluto were conjunct. That was the seed planted of the current Mars-Pluto cycle that is coming into the third waning square. And so Mars and Pluto joined together. Mars and Pluto is a combination. It's a volatile combination because Mars is that energy of potential energy turning into activated energy. It's where we feel the agitation and the need to move. And if we don't move, it can actually be harmful, right? If you have that fight or flight instinct and you don't move that energy, it can go inward and, cause health issues and so on and so forth. But that Mars energy needs to move. If it's it can cause things that explode, right? It's like built up energy, pressure. Pressure builds up and it needs to go somewhere. That is Mars. Mars is the way that energy is building up that needs to move. And it can move slowly, it can move quickly, but the point is Mars energy needs to go somewhere. And Pluto energy is transformational. It deals with big transformations. So, uh, mysterious things like where do we go when we die? How are we reborn? Right? Depth, mystery, transformation, these bigger processes that are mysterious that we don't always have answers for, and deeper psychologies as well. So our unconscious and awareness of what we haven't previously been aware of needing to come to the surface. So that potent, powerful energy of Pluto coming together with Mars needs to go somewhere. So people can get a little nervous about that combination, right? And if you have that in your chart too, somebody may have said to you like, oh, that's how do you experience that Mars Pluto combination, whatever it may be. But the point is that nothing has to be bad, right? It's just energy that needs to move to transform something. And so the seed that was planted at 0 degrees Aquarius is pushing us to move and grow in a new direction that is Aquarian, that is future oriented, that is dealing with innovation and new solutions and new ways forward, that is community oriented, that is shifting into higher consciousness, higher ideas and ideals. Of course, the dark side of Pluto in Aquarius is there as well. Detachment, getting, what's the word? Disconnected. So there can be that social isolation and things like that. Okay, there's lots there as well. But the point is that we are now, and think about February 2024, where we were at that time in our collective, right? Sort of on the brink of something that was really unknown. We didn't know what was going to happen, where we were heading, and we're now 3/4 of the way through that cycle. We had, by the way, the Mars Pluto opposition aligned with last November's election. Mars was retrograde. There were three passes of the opposition, so it began in early November, right before the US election in early November, and then second and third passes in January and I believe February. So that opposition, aligning with some of the changes in society and things that are pushing us to into places that we have not been before. All of that to say that what's happening as Mars is now almost, and with this eclipse, it's not exact yet. In fact, Mars is just about to go into Scorpio because it's in at 29 degrees Libra during the exact eclipse. But it's close enough to that third quarter square with, or that, yeah, waning square with Pluto. So we've been around the block a little bit, right? We know we have a better idea of what we're dealing with in some of the energies. And now that challenging square says, uh, who who are you? How do you show up now that you know a little bit more about what is happening that is taking you into this new place that you have not been yet? What do you need to decide about who you are, how to show up, how to describe yourself, right? Tell the story of what you see, how you experience what's going on in reality around you, how you define it, how you talk about it, what words you use, how you move, how you act, right? That Mars action. And so what you do based on who you're becoming, based on how this reality is unfolding. So that 29 degrees, here we are again with that theme of the anaretic degree. 29 degrees Libra. Mars is at the very end of Libra saying, okay, we've been being nice. We've been trying to sort of balance all sides, right? And now what's going to happen as Mars goes into Scorpio and forms its exact square with Pluto, is we go into some deeper change-oriented territory. Scorpio taking us into the mystery. Again, there's always good and bad to it. So so you get to choose how you want to think about it and the lens that you are going to view what is showing up through. So I'm going to say that that Scorpio energy is bringing the potential for some real transformation. What does that look like? How can you, this is the question, right? We are always asking, what does this mean for you and how you can be involved and engaged and helping to shape the reality you want to see unfold? So how can you show up in ways that support transformation and support the kind of transformation that brings real long-term healing? So that is the potential of Scorpio. Certainly, Scorpio can take us into some dark places. But remember that sometimes going through the dark places helps us to shed our old skin, figure out who we are now in this new reality, and show up in ways that say, I'm here to participate in life. I'm here to be who I am. I'm here to take a stand for what I care about. And Mars, I'm going to take action to help that come into being. So there is definitely not only one way to do that. There are, as many millions and billions of ways as there are people. So it's just asking yourself, what does that look like for me? Who am I given what I now know about the world and what it looks like right now? and what is happening, how I feel about it, and what I need to do about that. So, um, that it could be small, it could be bigger, it could be very personal, it could be more reaching out to a wider community. I don't know what is true and right for you, but these are the kinds of questions that when we are asking them, we are in alignment with the invitation the planets are bringing us. So, third quarter square between Mars and Pluto. This is a potent moment, a moment of decision making, a moment to steer and make a choice about which direction we want to go, how we're going to show up, what we're going to do, what that looks like. And we're putting something in motion that we will then be able to live according to, right? So maybe there's a bigger picture idea or principle or something you value that you want to make some changes in your life to say, this is important to me. This is how I am going to do my day-to-day life going forward to be in alignment with creating the kind of world I want to live in. So that's what I've got for you today. This is installment number 5. As I mentioned, we've had 4 other installments. Number 1 was on the significance of 29 degrees Virgo. Number 2 was on the opposition between Saturn and Neptune and the sun and moon. Kite, the grand trine in the eclipse chart with 2 sextiles at one end that forms a special magical kite that puts some extra support behind whatever choices we're making, good or bad. And that was, let's see, that was yesterday. So this is the next installment being about Mars and Pluto and their square. So tomorrow we will talk about Venus squaring Uranus, and Sunday is the eclipse. So stick with me. Thank you so much for being here. Catch up on any installments you may have missed. They're all on my YouTube channel, and I'll put the links in the description for this video as well. I'm Marina Orms. You can book a reading with me at astrologyheals.com. And thank you for being here and for subscribing if you are enjoying these videos. Thanks for sharing with a friend as well, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.